Good morning, everyone. Hi, Joshua.
How's it going?
Fine. How's it going with you?
Can't complain.
Good. What a cute kitty. So what have you been up to, Joshua?
I am forever a student. I'm still in grad school. So
Oh, great.
yeah. On the East Coast though, so I'm definitely missing the Bay. So
Yeah. The cold back there?
it was actually 82 degrees here in Philly about a week ago, and then today it's 30 degrees. So
Oh wow, that's cold.
Yeah. So I'm actually I have like a lot of phone calls with students that get into the program that I'm in right now, and a lot of times they're debating between here and Haas, and I have to like try really hard to not let them know how much better the weather is in Berkeley. So
Yeah. That's good. So how do you pronounce your first name? Is it Jungkook?
It is Chung-kyung, but there is no correct letter for Kyung, so I just choose K instead.
Okay, well, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
And then we have, is it Yiming?
Hello.
Hello. Hi, Tatiana.
Hello.
Are you calling in from Jungkook? Are you in Korea now, right now?
Yes, I'm in South Korea.
Yeah. How's the weather there? Is it
It's fine, just no normal spring,
Yeah.
normal spring days. Yeah.
That's nice. How about
We
you?
do have yellow dust. Yeah.
What was
but
that?
It's fine. Yellow dust.
Oh,
Yeah, but it's fine. Yeah.
how are you, Tatiana?
I'm good, thank you. Nice to see you all.
Yeah, nice to see you also.
I wish it was in person, but it's still nice.
Yeah. It'll be coming soon.
Looking forward to that.
So we have a couple more people that registered. Let's see. So they sent a new MN shirt. So I'm advertising today.
We don't see actually.
Oh, well, I tried to advertise. So I think everybody that registered is here. Although there's
Okay.
others we're hoping that will join us.
Yeah, maybe we'll wait a minute more and then we'll start.
Okay. Hi, Maxim. And I'm not sure if I don't know how to pronounce it. Is it Somi?
Yes, hi, it's Shomi. Yes,
Oh, Shomi. Hi, nice to meet you.
nice to meet you too, and everyone else as well.
And Evan and is it Rita?
I'm not sure if you said my name, but it's Rita.
Rita. Yes, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
So I've had some emails with a couple of you. Hi, Carolyn.
Hello,
Hello.
good afternoon.
Okay, shall we start?
Sure.
Okay, well, welcome everyone. Good to see you. This is the info session for the Master of Engineering in Nuclear Engineering for 2021-2022. Unfortunately, we are still in a remote mode, so we can't have this in person, but I hope we'll get a chance to meet each other and also to provide some additional info and answer any question you have about the MEng program. I'm Massimiliano Fratoni, and I'm an associate professor in the nuclear engineering department and also the MEng faculty lead for the nuclear engineering department. So basically the person you be dealing with through the MEng programs in terms of requirements for the MEng. And there are a few more people that have joined us today, so maybe we can have a round of introduction. Maybe first the department staff, and then past students from the program, and then maybe prospective students, if everyone could say a couple of words about themselves. Maybe Kirsten,
Yep.
if you want to go next.
So good. Hello, everyone. I'm Kirsten. I'm the Student Services Advisor for the department. And I think I've communicated with most of you here. And so welcome. And I will pass it to Joshua.
Hey everyone, my name is Josh. I went through the program, finished up in 2018. Before that, I was in the military for about 10 years. And I am now, we were just joking about how I'm a professional student. I'm now in another graduate program here on the East Coast. Yeah, thanks.
Hello, everyone. I'm Tatiana. I did the MEng in 2020, and I'm currently a first-year PhD student in nuclear engineering at UC Berkeley. And I did my undergrad in physics in Europe.
And I forgot, we have Carolyn. Carolyn joined us here also. She's in charge of student services for mechanical and nuclear.
Yeah, I just want to say hi and congratulations to all the prospective students, and you're in capable hands here, and I hope you learn a lot from this information session.
Okay. Maybe if the students want to introduce themselves. Jong Yang.
I'm from South Korea. My name is Jong Young, and I graduated from Gyeonggi University. My major is nuclear engineering also, and I'm happy to join in.
Thank you. Maxime.
Hi guys, I'm Max. I'm from the UK right now. I still haven't graduated yet. Still my first degree.
Soon.
Yeah, excited to join you guys next year.
Great. Shumi.
Hi, I'm Shomi. I did my bachelor's from India in electrical engineering, and right now I'm doing my master's in nuclear engineering. But this course is quite different from what I'm doing right now, so I'm excited to join you guys at Berkeley.
Mhm. Evan? There you go.
Hi, my name's Evan. I did my bachelor's in physics at the University of British Columbia in Canada, and I've been working for about a year and a half at a nuclear physics facility in Canada, and now I'm looking forward to start this program in the fall. So.
Thank you, Evan. Rida?
Hi, everyone. I'm from the East Coast, and I did my bachelor's at RPI, which is Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute, in nuclear engineering, and I'm really excited to learn more about the program.
Thank you. Yiming?
Hello. I am not officially admitted yet, but I'm still working on my first year bachelor degree in UC Irvine. I majored in computer science and physics.
Thank you for joining us, Yiming. So, as Karen was saying, first of all, congratulations to everyone for being admitted in the Master of Engineering program. I think is an exciting program, but at the same time a program that has some particular features. So we'll discuss a little bit of this. I have some slides here, although I don't want to bore everyone with too many slides. So, but hopefully it's going to help discussions, and then we'll leave it to questions. Let's see. Can you see my slides?
No.
No?
No.
No.
Okay, let me try again. What about now?
Yes.
Okay, fantastic. Okay, so first of all, what is the Master of Engineering program? Well, it's a program that combines two elements. One is the technical elements. So in this specific case, nuclear engineering skills. And on the other side, it combines leadership skills. So the idea is really to educate participants in these programs to be leader, and in particular leader in the industrial area, but at the same time to have a solid technical background. So that's where this program comes from, and that's where this program brings together the Fang Institute that is in charge of the leadership part, and the individual departments within campus that brings the technical component to the program. In our particular case, the nuclear engineering department is, for those of you that have experience with these departments, are usually small departments. We are a relatively small departments with about 90 graduate students and 80 undergraduate students. And the number of MEng students usually range between 10 and 20, depending on the year. So this is definitely an advantage. It's a small cohort. We know all our students, and we are in close contact with all our students. And the ratio between students and faculty is definitely very small. And actually, to just give you a little glimpse of what happened in our department, the faces you see here is our faculty. and the different disciplines that we cover. We're quite broad department. We have traditional areas in nuclear engineering, like nuclear physics, reactor design, modeling, simulations, non-proliferation, fusion, but also areas like accelerator or medical physics, bionuclear, that some of the faculties that joined the department more recently are leading at this moment. And I'll be happy to discuss more about this individual area if you want to, as we have our Q&A. Based on this area, we have focused the Master of Engineering programs into four technical concentrations, four technical area where students in the Master of Engineering can focus on. And these are nuclear reactor design, management, and infrastructure. And under this concentration, we'll bring together all those aspects that are connected with generating electricity from fissions, from nuclear, and the management of that infrastructures. So the reactor, but also everything that makes the reactor possible. So including the back end of the fuel cycle, so waste management, environmental impact, and so on. Then you have the area of applied nuclear science and radiation detection. In this area, instead, we have all those applications related more to nuclear physics and radiation detector. So professor, in this case, Professor Bayer and other working with him, be looking at use of radiation detection for multiple purposes. The other two technical concentrations are the nuclear materials and manufacturing. So in this case, is Professor Hosman mostly the faculty reference for this area, looking at discovery and the characterization of different materials and new materials we use in the nuclear field very broadly. Could be fission, could be fusion, or also accelerator technology. And finally, one of the topic that we're trying to grow, and also in collaboration with UCSF, and we recently had UCSF faculty joining our department, Professor Yang Se Ho, is the medical physics, metaphysics area. So basically, applications of radiation in the medical area, dosimetry, biological effect, radiation protection, and so on. Now, how do this technical area work, and how do you choose these different technical areas? Well, strictly speaking, we don't enforce any of this. We just have a recommendation. So every technical area has associated classes that that you can take, that we recommend if you want to focus on that technical area. In addition to that, is the capstone projects characterize those different concentration. You might, I don't know if you have a chance to see the requirements of the program, but one key component of the Master of Engineering is the capstone project. This is a technical project that has both research components and also leadership components. So you work on this in parallel between your department and the FANG Institute. And the capstone project is a project you'll be developing over 2 semesters. And the idea is really through to this project to put in practice all those technical and leadership skills that you gain through the program. So ideally, you're working on a product and you develop this product through the capstone. This is a team project. Team varies in size between 3 and 5. Sometimes they could be smaller, sometimes they could be larger teams. But I think the team component is really important because it gets you to practice those leadership skills and those interactions between different team components. That is part of what you're gaining through this program. At this stage, we haven't finalized set of project for next year. This is some of the projects that have been proposed. Some of the projects that Professor Hosman has proposed in the material area, and also we have a project potentially in collaboration with Kairos Power. Kairos Power is a nuclear energy startup. This is looking at the development of fluoride-cooled high-temperature reactor. That's what the FHR stays there. And actually, Kairos Power is a spin-off from our department, and they are located in Alameda, just a few miles away from Berkeley. So that will be a great possibility to interact with them directly, and so look at sort of real world solution and work with them on this project. Again, this is only a partial list. We're looking at collecting more projects. I know many of you very often are interested in fusion aspects, so we're looking at a project in the fusion area, as well as maybe a project in collaboration with UCSF in the medical physics area. What do you need to do in order to complete the program? Again, once you come in, you get plenty of information about the requirements. But as you're thinking about joining, just wanted to give you a picture of what is expecting. You are expected to complete 25 units of classes. These classes are split between leadership classes and technical classes. So there are 8 units of leadership and 12 units of technical classes. What does that mean? Technically, that means for the 8 units, I believe is 2 classes in the leadership curriculum. Each class is 4 units. The 12 units in the NE department, it means 3 or 4 classes. More often, it's going to be 4. Because we have very few classes there. They are 4 units. So typically, class will be between 3 and 4 units. And the final 5 units will be completed through the capstone project. And in addition to that, you'll have to pass a comprehensive exam. So there is an exam, and also that exam has 2 parts. One part is the leadership, and that's going to go through the Fang Institute, and the other component is the nuclear engineering technical component. In this case, it's a written exam where we test your, I would say, basic understanding of the field of nuclear engineering across the field of nuclear physics, reactors, radiation effects, and radiation detections, and so on. So it's not, I wouldn't say it's extremely complicated, but it does require that through the time you're here, you acquire some basic level of understanding of the nuclear engineering field, nuclear science and engineering field. If you have already a degree in nuclear engineering, probably this will be relatively straightforward. If you do not have a background in nuclear science and engineering, if you're joining our department from another field, that's absolutely not not an issue. We have plenty of students joining our program from other fields. We do have an introductory class to nuclear energy and technology, and we do recommend you take that class if you don't have any previous knowledge in nuclear energy and nuclear engineering. It's not mandatory. It just helps, I think, if you don't have that previous knowledge, and that class can count towards your 12 units. Okay. Don't want really to spend too much time. Get your question, have a discussion with you. The last thing I want to say, the last but definitely not least, actually one of the most important. The department really strives to create an environment that is welcoming for everyone. There is no difference that set us apart, and the department really welcomes anyone, any faculty, staff, the students from any background. This is our philosophy, this is our spirit, and we hope and almost, I would say, demand that if you join the department, you fully embrace this spirit. Okay, that's all the slide I had. Again, we could go on for longer, but I guess I'll have you ask questions.
Hi, Emilio. Thank you for your presentation. I was wondering, will we be assigned an academic supervisor, and when do we get to choose our concentration in the department? At what point of the year?
Yeah. So as I mentioned, the concentration is sort of self-guided, right? We, as you come in, day one, we'll have a meeting, and we'll provide all the information about what are the classes that you should take if you're interested in a given concentration, and what are the projects, the capstone projects related to that concentration. So as you choose that concentration, you choose those classes, you choose capstones. Again, it's not something we enforce, some guidelines that we provide in order to focus on one area than another. In terms of an advisor, yes, I mean, I'll be in general the point of contact for any one of you that has questions about the MNG program. But probably your main reference will be the capstone project advisor. So every capstone project is led by a faculty or is led by an industry partner. If there is an industry partner, in that case, there is also a faculty associated with that project. So you always have a faculty associated with that project. So once you choose a project and you get selected for a project, I don't know if you have had a chance, but there is a process for selecting a project. Basically, you have a chance at the beginning of the semester to see all the projects that are available. You apply for them, and then for multiple of them, and then you get selected or invited to join a team or not. So at that point, once you have assigned a project, the faculty that leads that project, or the faculty that is a point of contact if the project is led by industry, or will be effectively your academic advisor.
Does the department have an idea about how much of the program will be like remote and not remote in this upcoming academic year yet?
That's a question we will all like to have an answer to. At this time, the idea is that we'll be in person, and many of our, or most of our classes are small enough that in person should be a possibility. There might be some components, in particular the leadership classes, that they're large classes because those are general for everyone in the MENC program. It is my understanding that those classes may stay online, or at least the bulk of the class will remain online with some in-person component. So I think that's what it looks like right now. That will be back in person in the fall, but it is a fluid situation. So hopefully things are going the right way, and will be fully in person. There will be no problem.
So I just wanted to clarify about the follow-up for the previous question about the capstone project. So we have to select what project we want to do before the start of the semester, and we would be provided with a list of projects available. Okay.
That's correct. It is a little bit more involved, the process. So basically the faculty will make a pitch for their project, and you'll make your selection, and you basically send an application. It sort of emulates the process of applying for a job if you want. So you send in applications where you say why you really want to work for that project, and then the faculty that is leading the project or the industry partner that is leading the project might or might not choose you. Now, let's say that in nuclear, usually being a small community, I never heard of anyone that did not get the first choice. Sometimes it happens that there is a project and there's only one student that really likes that project and nobody else wants to work on that project. Then that project gets canceled because there is not a team. So there is no absolute certainty that you're going to get your first choice. That's what usually happens, at least in our department. I will mention there is also the possibility to to join a project outside of our department. So it doesn't have to be a nuclear engineering project. But if that happens, what we ask is there is a nuclear engineering component, because at the end of the day, you're still getting a degree in nuclear engineering. So there is nuclear engineering applications outside in an outside project, skills, something that is still applicable to nuclear engineering, but it's an outside project. That's also a possibility. Right. So there are, I think right now there is a list of 350 projects or something like that. So you'll have plenty to choose from.
I think the lists become available in August. Isn't that right?
I believe so, yeah. Well, basically, when you join, it gets finalized over the summer, usually, yeah. The list is a tentative list, just to say that we would like to propose a project.
Sorry, I wanted to ask, is there, because I was looking at the potential list the Institute released, will there be, and you mentioned that there might be some projects added to that, will there be any projects, do you know if there will be any projects that will be energy related with nuclear energy for the nuclear engineering students?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I don't know what you mean for energy related, but we always have a reactor project. Let's call it that. Yes.
Hi, sorry, I have a question. I know that this program is really like industry focused according to like the website and everything, but I was wondering how to make it, I guess, a little bit more research focused, because that's kind of like my goals for the future. And if this program would be kind of like a good way to get into like grad school or do other research in the future.
So the program is definitely industry oriented, but as I mentioned, there are two components to it, and the capstone project, depending on the project, might have some research components. some projects are more strictly applied. Some projects have more of a researchy type of scope. So that depends. I think in general, students do get to experience to have an experience in research through the capstone project. I will also say that some departments, and definitely nuclear engineering is one of those departments, tends to have more research component than other departments. Sometimes products are different. I mean, in particular, if we're working with reactors, we're not going to build a reactor. I'm sorry. In 1 year, we're not going to build a reactor. So sorry to disappoint you if that was your expectation. So definitely would be more on a theoretical, more on a research components. So we will always get this question. So I want to clarify. Can I go on and get a PhD after I've done a Master of Engineering? Well, it happens that in the panel here of previous students, you have 2 students that have exactly done that. That went on after the Master of Engineering and continue for a PhD. So that's possible, and definitely I would think that you apply next year saying you got a Master of Engineering at Berkeley in nuclear engineering for PhD. That will be definitely a plus, I would think, in your look good on your CV. But what I want to say that is important is the Master of Engineering is not a preparation for PhD, is not a backdoor for PhD. It is a program that has a very specific components and a very specific target. It will definitely boost your CV, but I don't know if that's going to help you to get a PhD into a PhD later on. I think the majority of our students do not go on into a PhD after. That's the minority, and out of the minority, maybe it's like, I don't know, 2 or 3 out of 15 every year. I don't know. And out of the minority, a fraction of that gets into a PhD at Berkeley. I think I can count in one hand the number of students that move from MH to PhD at Berkeley. So this is very important. If you are seeing this as a stepping stone, as a backdoor, please think very carefully, because there is no guarantee that any of this is going to happen. And again, it's not the norm; it's the exception. Okay, I don't want to give false promises. I don't want to say you just take get an MEng and then all PhD programs are going to open their doors to you. That's not the case. And it is a program that is 9 months, and these 9 months are very, very intense. I mean, this is connected with our academic year, but your leadership classes start, I believe, 2 weeks before in August, 1 week before in August. Your winter break, it's only 10 days, because early January you have to be back again for your leadership classes. We are going to be back only after the 15th of January with classes, but leadership classes start much early, and you'll have to work on a capstone. You'll have to work on your technical classes, on your leadership classes. You have to take a comprehensive exam. Those are 9 months that are really packed. If it really takes motivation, and if your motivation is not there, if you're not embracing the program, then that doesn't work. At the same time, I know one common feedback that I receive from my bench students that come in and says, I really just want to do capstone. I want to take classes. I want to do research. I don't care about this leadership stuff. And then at the end of the year, they say, well, you know what? This leadership class was the best part of the program. Was really, I learned so much. So it is really an added value. I think it's done very well. But I mean, you should get this directly from the students. They can tell you better than me because I never taken those classes. So again, if embrace the program, otherwise I don't think it's gonna work.
Thank you. I
Perhaps-
appreciate that.
Yeah, and perhaps we could hear from the students.
Yeah, I think we should. That's what I was
on
gonna say.
that on that note. Yeah, just in reaction to that question.
To discuss their experience.
So we have Joshua and Tatiana.
Yeah, sure. And I think it'll be good to hear both because so Tatiana, if I understand correctly, is in a PhD program at Berkeley.
Yeah.
I actually went a slightly different route in that I got really excited about the capstone and sort of business side of things and leadership part of things. And so now I'm in a business degree right now. So a slightly different route, but I think I would agree with everything that Max just said. I think that the communication courses and the leadership courses, I think for most folks, like I think is everyone here, based on your backgrounds, very STEM heavy and quant, based. You don't really give much thought to the communications, and I'm not saying that's you, but I know that was me at least when I was your guys' age. But most people, all of my friends, whether they were NE or MECI or EECS, they all reflected on how much more useful it was to actually embrace those classes. And I think that was one of the biggest value adds for me, for sure. So.
Yeah, I would agree with all of you. I wanted to say that it's a program that is quite flexible. So if you want to do it more like research, you can add more classes or more academic oriented. But at the same time, I think like doing the mensch really boosted my like communication skills, and I got to see what's out there basically and taste a little bit of the industry and what's going on there. And I could really like decide whether I want to go to a research program after that or go to the industry. And I don't think like at least from my experience talking with my classmates, like we all appreciated really much the like this leadership classes because I think they're helping us either we choose one route or the other. So it's definitely good to know whether you want to, like if you have decided that you only want to do research, then I don't know if this program is exactly for you. But in the same time, like if you're still between industry and research, I think it's the best program to choose because you can really taste both of them. And yeah, the leadership classes are just amazing, I think.
I think that's part of my favorite part about the capstone was that so there were two members of my team who were just really into research, and so they were the two that were always down, in the basement of Echeverry doing actual experiments on the HFNG. Whereas one of my other friends who was on my team, we were both more into like the marketing part and the business plan piece, and so we spent most of our time doing that. So not to say that you can't lean into one more than other, particularly for your question, Rita, but I would agree with Tatiana. It is quite flexible if you put in the effort.
Any other questions?
What are some of the career opportunities which one would have after finishing the program, apart from PhD, of course, like in the industry?
So there's a career person in the Fung Institute that has a lot of workshops and things that she does. But I think most of the nuclear students, they go out into startup companies or into working with the government and things like that, or is that more with the PhD, Max?
I think there's been a variety of situation. Some of our students have gone to work for different startups. Kairos Power, I think, is a couple of them. The fusion company down in LA, now the name escapes me, has hired at least one of our students. Other students have gone to national labs, and other students have gone to completely different route outside of the nuclear of the nuclear field. As a department, we're quite broad in the research that the project and the skills that you learn are quite broad. So many students do end up doing something else, not necessarily strictly connected to nuclear. So there's quite a variety of things happening.
There's a sheet on the Fung website, I think, that gives you specific company names that I can direct you to.
Okay, sure. Thank you.
Any other?
So I was wondering, compared to other sectors, for example, like the aerospace sectors where international students don't have that many opportunities in the US, how would you describe the nuclear sector if you want to find a job in the US as a non-citizen?
I can talk to you for experience. Well, it is not straightforward, but it's not impossible. So it's not overly complicated. Actually, I don't know if I could be saying something wrong, but usually after your degree, you're eligible for a program. It's called optional training. I believe this applies to MEng as well. If it's too sure, it does. Okay, perfect.
For a year. For a year.
For a year, yes.
And then
so you get,
and then you can renew it.
Okay, so yes, you know better than me now. So there is this optional training program that basically allows you to work in the US for a year with, I believe, renewal up to 3 years. Is that the case? So it's not forever. That means that you have a limited time within which you have to figure out if someone can sponsor you a visa to work in the US. But I would say if that's your desire, is that what you like to do, that is not overly complicated. Now, I should mention though that of course not all countries are the same. So depending on nationality, it might be more or less complicated. So in the case of the UK, I think it will be straightforward.
So I'm going to put the link to the employment data in the chat.
Thank you, Kisa. Any other question we could help to answer? Anything else you'd like to discuss?
Anything at all?
Sorry, another question. I was wondering, is Professor Edward Morse planning to lead any capstone project?
No.
I don't think so. I'll ask again, but last time I asked, there was no positive answer. But we're trying to figure out. I'm assuming you're interested in a project in the fusion area, right? So I'm trying to figure out a different route to get a project in that area. So we might have a project with the Lawrence Berkeley National Lab or Lawrence Livermore National Lab.
And that happens to be one of the career employment data that you were saying, the Lawrence Berkeley Lab, and there's only 3 that are listed on there. So I guess it depends on what feedback they get from the alumni.
I have one question. Okay. So is there any funding opportunities for this program which we can apply to, or is it like whatever we are getting is Or like
So the Fung Institute, so 30% of the incoming cohort, there's funding that has been allocated for those people, or for about 30%. Other than that, if you can bring outside funding in if you're able to secure that, and so you can apply for different, fellowships or scholarships through outside agencies. But yeah, the department's not able to provide funding for this program, and the Fung Institute this year, I think the minimum or the amount is just the $15,000 that a select number of students were able to receive.
So if in your admission letter you were notified that you got funds, that means you got selected for the merit award. If you did not get notified, unfortunately, you did not get selected. There is only a limited number of awards that we can give. So I mean, we would love to support everyone, but that's not a possibility. So, and I fully understand this. The cost component is not trivial.
Thank you.
And I can send you some links on where you might find some funding resources, but yeah, it wouldn't be from the department or the Fung Institute.
I think that there are some minimum possibility of employment. The Fung Institute does employ some students to support the program. Sometimes we discourage students to get teaching assistant positions, but that's not. Sometimes there are some positions available. Departments like the physics department very often are in need of teaching assistant students. Again, the program is packed, it's intense, so in general we discourage employment because it will take you have probably limited time, but it's not excluded, it's just discouraged. Unfortunately, we don't. If there was going to be anyone, next question, we don't have teaching assistant position within the department. Those are all taken at this point.
I had a question about the capstone projects. So you were mentioning that you guys were thinking about adding certain capstone projects that are related to fusion. And if Edward Morse was not going to be leading it, do you guys have an idea of who would be the advisor for such projects? Like, would it be Lee Bernstein or?
Depending on the project, we'll need to figure out. We could have Karl Schroeder, is an adjunct faculty from LBL, so he might be one potential advisor. Maybe Professor Morris would be willing to be the advisor if someone external is leading the project. We won't let you alone. No way.
Is this what the class size is going to look like for next year? Is this
No. Oh, actually, we hope no. Kristen, did we admit?
I'm sorry, I missed what the question was.
I believe we admitted 29 students.
We have 25 students and 4 people that have deferred from last year.
4 delayed from last year. So, not everybody's going to accept.
Right.
But if 50%, then it's 15 students.
So right now we have 9 people that have accepted so far.
Yes. So our typical class is 15 plus minus 5. This year,
I missed what you said. My computer's acting funny here.
students that decide to postpone.
Has
Oh, no,
there
that's
been
okay. I
any?
was just saying, yeah.
Yeah, no, we have one person that's asked about a deferral, but they haven't yet wanted to move forward on it.
Okay.
So possibly,
So,
yeah.
Yeah. So I would say between 15 and 20, I hope.
Yeah.
But you will have a cohort of 800 MN students to interact with also. So there's a double side to it, a small community in NE and a large community in the MH program.
So like this year we have what, 11 students this year, and the year prior we had 20, I think. Yeah.
Sorry, Maxine, you were saying?
So the technical classes will be just with about 15 people. Is that right?
Well, in the technical classes, so you'll be taking classes together with PhD students or undergraduate students, depending on the class. So the actual classes might be bigger, but or smaller. So you might be taking a class of 5 people, you might take a class of 40 people, but that's the range.
And the leadership classes I can add that are taken with people from different departments. And it's about 20 to 30 people depending on the class. And the boot camp's a little bit larger, like 50 people or 40 people, depending on the class again.
Although again, those classes or some part of those classes might stay online because it gets a little bit larger. Yeah.
Sorry, I was answering a question in the chat.
I'm one of the students who think of PhD degrees, and before I apply to graduate school in America, I never think about security issues. But I am a foreign student in America. So is there any part I should avoid to apply in nuclear engineering field?
I'm not sure what exactly you're asking, but I can assure you that you'll be just fine. In our program, we have no secret information to share. Sorry. We have plenty of foreign students in our program. We have other students from Korea. We have students from all over the world. So there is no secret here. No, the issue comes if you want to work at the national lab or sometimes in industry, but at the university we have, and in particular at Berkeley, this is one of the principles of Berkeley, making no discrimination between students. And so if there was a topic that one student could access and the other one could not, for us it wouldn't be possible to work on because we'll be considered a discriminatory topic. So there's nothing you have to worry within the university system. Okay, any other question? Well, if you do have additional questions, concern or anything, please feel free to email myself or Kristen, and I'm sure if you have more questions for the students, they'll also be happy to answer them. Thank you, Josh. Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
It was nice to
Thank
meet
you,
you.
everyone, for joining. Congratulations again on your admission, and I hope to see you in person in August.
Thank you, Joshua and Tatiana.
Yeah, thanks, Josh and Tatiana, for joining us, and thank Kristen.
Good to see everyone.
Thank you very much.
Everyone.
Thank
Have a good
you.
afternoon.
Bye.